So I need a new gate, and after looking at the prices of new ones online, I've decided to make one. I'm going to show you how I did it. So I'm going to start off by showing you the gate frame fully assembled, and as we go through the video I'll show you how I got to this point. Now, one advantage of making your own gate is you can make it to whatever dimensions you like. So for me, these two vertical uprights called stiles are going to be 1800mm long, and these three horizontal rails are going to be 900mm long. The middle rail is going to be set in the middle, and the top and bottom rails are going to be inset by 10cm or 100mm. And we'll worry about these two diagonal braces a little later on. Now, to ensure this gate frame is nice and strong, I'm going to be using half lap joints. So I'm going to show you how I turned this into this using a few basic tools. Now, there are many different methods and tools you could use to achieve the same result, but for me I'll be using this basic table saw and mitre saw, along with a cordless impact driver and hand tools, 40mm screws, 40mm ring shank nails, and some exterior grade wood glue. So I'm going to start off by measuring up and cutting to length all the timber I need to make the gate frame. Now, it's worth mentioning at this point that with half lap joints you cut the timber to the exact dimensions you want the gate frame to be. Now, I'll try and explain how a half lap joint works. You remove half the material from one piece of timber and half the material from the adjoining piece of timber. And once they're glued and screwed together, it will make a nice strong joint. So now I'm going to set up my table saw to cut half the depth of my timber. In my case, that's 22mm. So now I've worked out the depth of my cut, I need to work out the width. And that's quite straightforward. It's the width of one of the horizontal rails. So offer up one of the rails to your timber and make a mark either side, and that will give you the total width of the cut that you need. So now my table saw is adjusted to the right cutting depth. I'm going to use it to make multiple passes across the timber to create one half of the half lap joint. So hopefully it's starting to make some sort of sense now. These are my two vertical stiles with the half lap joints cut into them. Now, millimetre perfection isn't required for a build like this, but I would recommend, if you've got the tools and the equipment to do it, cutting these both at the same time. So now it's time to offer them up to the horizontal rails. Make sure they're flush with the ends and draw a line. So using the same method with the table saw, I made multiple cuts across the ends of the horizontal rails, and then I used the chisel to take away any excess or high points. So it's all starting to come together now. These are all the half lap joints cut into my two vertical stiles and my three horizontal rails, and I must admit I'm pretty pleased with how they've turned out. So now it's time for a dry fit, fitting everything together to make sure it's all square and making any micro adjustments as you go. So once you're happy, and before adding any wood glue, it's now time to go around and drill some pilot holes, ensuring I don't go too close to the edge to avoid splitting the wood. It's now time to apply plenty of external wood glue to your half lap joints. So before tightening the screws up, I use a set square to ensure the gate frame is square and level before finally driving the screws all the way in. So now I'm going to move on to fitting the diagonal braces, and before I do, I'm going to quickly explain which way they should go. They should always angle down towards the hinge side of the gate. This ensures that any load on top of the unsupported side of the gate is transferred through the diagonal braces to the hinge side. Now it's time to fit the diagonal brace. Now, I'll be honest, when I decided to build this gate, this is how I wanted it to be. One continuous piece of timber passing through the gate frame at approximately 60 degrees with a half lap joint where it passes the middle horizontal rail. This has been suggested to be the optimal angle to support the gate to stop it from sagging. However, after doing a little bit more research, I found that a 45-degree brace, although it doesn't offer quite as much support, would be more than adequate for a gate like this. And in addition, it appears to offer more structural integrity that will prevent the gate frame from warping and twisting over time. If this is true or not, I don't know, but it sort of made some sort of sense in my head. Ideally, I would have liked the diagonal braces to have made contact with both corners of the gate frame, a little like this, but that would have reduced the angle of the braces to less than 45 degrees, that potentially could have reduced their ability to support the gate sufficiently and stop it from sagging. That said, I'm more than happy with how they are. So here we are, the gate frame fully assembled and ready for the feather edge boards to be fitted. I fitted the feather edge boards using the 40mm ring shank nails. I overlapped each board by 25mm using 9 boards to cover the full width of the gate frame.
Oh, for